Welcome back. Look, if you've been glued to the news this week, you know we've just been blasted with a total fire hose of updates. It genuinely feels like every major tech company decided to drop their biggest announcements all at the exact same time. But hey, don't worry, that is exactly why we're here. We're going to filter out the noise, skip all the pure hype, and focus strictly on what actually matters, and how these massive shifts are going to impact the way we work, create, and interact with the world around us. Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're tracking this evolution across 5 key areas. We've got next-gen AI interactions, the tech titans battle, Google's AI everywhere, creative AI breakthroughs, and we'll wrap it all up with AI in the physical world. Let's get right to it. Starting off with Section 1, next-gen AI interactions, specifically looking at thinking machine labs. So this company was founded by former OpenAI CTO Mira Murati, and they just showed off some new interaction models that honestly feel like a massive leap forward. It's not just a minor benchmark bump. The situational awareness here is wild. We're talking real-time translation, where it literally speaks over the person in another language as they're talking. And, if you pause to think, it doesn't awkwardly cut you off. It actually waits for you. You can even give it conditional instructions like, hey, count out loud every time I mention an animal in a story. It even has visual awareness, like actively checking if you're slouching at your desk and calling you out on it. But my absolute favorite part, the safety-based redirection. So in this hilarious demo, a user suggested taking their 80-year-old parents mountain biking. The AI immediately jumps in to warn them of the risks. Then the user jokingly pivots to taking tandem bikes on an active volcano, and the AI literally cuts in again, like, stop, an active volcano is deadly, and totally redirects the conversation. The intelligence there is just phenomenal. Moving on to Section 2, the Tech Titans battle, focusing on OpenAI versus Anthropic. We are seeing some incredibly aggressive rollouts as these massive companies fight for enterprise dominance. First up, OpenAI finally dropped something developers have been begging for, the Codex mobile app. This is a total game changer. You can now manage your entire codebase or wiki right from your phone. You can prompt an app build, walk into the living room, and just monitor its progress from the couch. At the same time, Anthropic rolled out Agent View in Claude Code. So if you're sick of drowning in a dozen open terminal windows, this cleanly consolidates everything into one screen so you can see exactly what needs input and what's done. And to keep all these heavy AI apps running smoothly, Crusoe introduced managed inference using something called memory alloy. Basically, instead of burning compute by processing massive context windows from scratch over and over, it retains and reuses the context. So no lag, just lightning-fast speeds as things scale up. And this brilliantly illustrates a massive philosophical divide between the two, especially around security. OpenAI just launched their security tool, Daybreak, but they're taking a strictly closed-door approach. You ask them to scan your systems, and they handle it on their end. Anthropic, on the flip side, built these powerful cybersecurity models and just handed trusted developers direct access. But as the source material pointed out, that open tool approach accidentally led to the tech falling into the hands of non-cyber professionals and bad actors. It's a fascinating real-time look at the risks and rewards of open versus closed deployment. Now, Anthropic is actually facing a bit of their own controversy this week. They're moving away from a standard subscription access model for third-party apps and switching to a new credit-based system. Anthropic spun this as a win, giving users a flexible block of credits so you aren't abruptly cut off before rolling into API billing. Well, developers did the math, and they are not happy. It turns out those credits are billed at much more expensive API rates, meaning a standard credit block can just vanish in a few hours of heavy development work. But here is the really wild part. Even with that pushback, data from RAMP shows Anthropic's aggressive strategy is absolutely working. For the very first time, Anthropic has officially surpassed OpenAI in business adoption. They captured 34.4% of businesses in April, while OpenAI actually dropped down to 32.3%. So, how exactly did they pull that off? Systematic, laser-focused targeting. Literally week by week, Anthropic has been rolling out pre-built agents and plugins tailored for specific industries. They tackled financial services, then healthcare, design, cybersecurity, and just this week, legal. They're aggressively plugging right into the tools businesses already use every single day, like QuickBooks and DocuSign, making the switch totally seamless. And sometimes that adoption leads to some incredibly lucrative personal outcomes. I have to share this amazing story from an ex-user this week. This person had been locked out of their old Bitcoin wallet for over 11 years. Why? Because they admitted they got stoned in college and completely changed the password. So, as a total Hail Mary, they dumped their entire old computer hard drive into Claude. Claude actually sifted through all of it, found an old wallet file, decrypted it, and recovered 5 whole Bitcoin after 11 plus years. That is the real-world power of these massive context windows right there.
All right, shifting gears to Section 3, Google's AI Everywhere, looking at Android and their OS previews.
With Google I/O right around the corner, they are aggressively baking AI directly into the operating systems we use every single day. We're looking at things like Gemini auto booking, real-time voice cleanup, and a brand new AI-first OS called Google Book. The so what here is absolutely huge. In one of the demos, a user just snapped a picture of an event flyer on their phone. Instead of typing anything into different apps, they just tapped a Gemini button, and boom, it automatically opened Expedia, pulled the event data, and prepped the booking. Another tap and it opened Spot Hero, reserved a parking spot, and had Google Pay ready to go. It is executing these complex, multi-step real-world tasks instantly from a single photo. Which brings us to a really fascinating question. Google showed off this reimagined Jarvis-style pointer for their new laptops where the user wasn't even typing. They were using eye tracking and conversational AI to move objects around. They'd look at a recipe, say, add this to my shopping list here, and the AI completely understood the context and merged the text. Think about that. If we're already editing documents just by talking and glancing at a screen without a keyboard, how far off are we from just dragging our fingers around in thin air to control our digital lives? It is literal Iron Man stuff, and it's happening right now. Section 4. Creative AI breakthroughs in design and 3D modeling. Now, AI is radically transforming design, but first, we've got to have a quick laugh about how people perceive AI art. Someone posted an image to X with a prompt asking people to describe exactly why this quote-unquote inferior AI art was worse than a real Monet. They even slapped a fake made with AI tag on it. The replies were absolute gold. People wrote essays critiquing it, calling it soulless, and pointing out all these flaws that proved a machine made it. The twist? It was a genuine historical Claude Monet painting. It really just goes to show how much our own biases shape what we see. But for actual working artists, the tools are getting shockingly precise. Krea 2 just launched, and it completely solves one of the biggest headaches for designers, stylistic control. Forget relying on lucky text prompts. Now you can use weighted sliders to dial in the exact style you want. And they added these mood boards. You can upload a batch of reference photos, say a highly saturated retrofuturistic purple vibe, and the AI analyzes it, builds a permanent, personalized taste profile just for you, and locks in that exact aesthetic for all your future generations. It's a total game changer. Let's move to the next logical step and see how this builds into a whole new dimension. World Labs just released this mind-blowing open source tool that you can run right through Claude Code. It's basically 3 steps. First, you input a standard flat 2D image. Instantly, the AI generates 3D meshes, assigns physics, calculates the lighting, and even whips up looping ambient audio. Finally, it spits out a fully explorable, interactive 3D room. You can actually walk around the space and pick up objects that were literally just flat pixels a minute ago. It's entirely open source and just an unbelievable playground for creators. And finally, Section 5, AI in the physical world, covering vehicles and robotics. This is where all these threads really come together. AI is completely leaving the screen and entering the physical spaces we live in. Just look at what Rivian announced for their vehicles. They're rolling out a native AI assistant that ties directly into the vehicle's real-time diagnostics. The practical benefit of this is huge. Pretty soon, you're not going to be digging through some massive manual in your glove box. You can just say, hey, turn on everyone's heated seat except mine. Or you can ask conversational troubleshooting questions when a weird warning light pops up. The car will analyze its own telemetry and tell you exactly how to fix it. This is undeniably going to be the standard for all vehicles. And it goes way beyond cars. We are talking physical labor. Figure Robotics has been streaming a continuous 24/7 live feed of their humanoid robots sorting packages. I just want you to process this number for a second. 34. That is the number of consecutive hours this robot has been working on a live stream without a single break, no battery swaps, no pauses, just pure continuous sorting. And to put that scale into perspective, 43,000. It flawlessly sorted 43,000 packages over those 34 hours.
Now, sure, right now it's just grabbing boxes and flipping labels, but the sheer, tireless endurance of physical AI hardware is advancing at a rate that is, frankly, astonishing.
So the crucial point is that this tech is moving at light speed across every single sector. Let's rapid fire through a few remaining vital updates just to keep you perfectly up to date before next week's massive Google I/O event. Meta finally brought incognito chats to WhatsApp, and they're pushing their Muse, Spark, Llama 3 models everywhere. Notion just dropped a huge developer CLI and SDK, letting you run your whole workspace right from the terminal. The classic site dig.com actually relaunched, and they're brilliantly using AI to track top trends from the loudest voices in the industry. And the big rumor for next week? We might be seeing a Gemini 3.2 Flash model that's supposedly 15 to 20 times cheaper alongside a brand new 24/7 Gemini Spark agent. Which leaves us with this final thought. We've seen AI evolve this week from doing real-time voice translation to recovering decade-old Bitcoin to turning flat photos into 3D rooms, all the way to physically sorting thousands of packages. As this technology continues to break out of our software interfaces and move into our physical spaces and vehicles, which part of your daily workflow will you augment first? Thanks so much for joining me today and learning efficiently with this explainer. These tools are evolving incredibly fast, so stay curious, keep exploring, and I'll see you next time as we continue to decode the future.